The Knicks postgame show is presented by Tri-State Audi. Visit your Tri-State area Audi dealer today. Jalen Brunson for the Knicks. Another 30-point night. He had 37. Knicks down by 12. Were able to tie it late. Cade Cunningham, excellent game 2. Had 33 points. All knotted up at 94. 55 seconds ago, Dennis Schroeder for the key 3. He had 20 off the bench. And the Pistons tie up the series at 1 game apiece, beating the Knicks tonight 100-94. Bill Pidto here along with Wally Szczerbiak. We're here for the next hour to break it down. Knicks with a season low, Wally, 94 points. You take away the 5-minute, 27-second stretch in game 1 where the Knicks outscored the Pistons 21-0. You take that out of the equation, and Detroit has outplayed New York.
They have. This team's come to play. This team's physical. They're tough. They're bigger almost at every position. And the Knicks got to make some serious adjustments going into Detroit. Not going to be easy to win a game there. Having said that, they had an opportunity in that fourth quarter. They know they can execute down the stretch. They had a couple wide open looks at 3 that they couldn't knock down and couldn't take advantage of. But at the same time, this Detroit team put a lot of pressure on the Knicks by playing a really good basketball game again. I didn't think they were going to be this solid to bounce back after the loss the way they lost in game 1. This team's something that the Knicks have to be worried about.
Detroit led from about halfway into the first quarter for the rest of the game.
Yep.
Knicks never led. They were able to tie it late. Brunson had 14 in the fourth quarter, but Towns did not score a single point in the second half. Didn't get a shot in the fourth quarter. Mikal Bridges didn't score in the fourth quarter. It was Brunson and nothing else for the Knicks as they try to come back.
Yeah, and Jalen was unbelievable. You know, he was keeping his team in it. And you have to adjust as a player when you're playing with a guy that's so dominant scoring like Jalen Brunson. You just have to be ready when you get your opportunities. Obviously, Towns is used to being more into the game. Here's a little spat between Hart and Schroeder. Schroeder is a nag, believe me. That guy is going to get under your skin. He's going to do all the little tricks. He's a veteran and he's smart. Jalen Brunson, though, outstanding in that fourth quarter. Noah Thompson, he fouled him out. This was a big play there. Tie game, Jalen Duren gets that dunk. And then Josh Hart gets it back on the other end.
Tied it up.
Ties it up, was looking for the foul, didn't get it. That's just a bad miscommunication. Josh Hart and Jalen Brunson have to switch to not allow that good of a look. And then down the other end, down 3. That's an outstanding open shot. Bridges misses, Schroeder makes. That's the difference in this game. That's the pressure that the Pistons put on the Knicks. And now we're going back to Detroit City, tied at 1. Looks like this is going to be a long season, a long series, sorry.
Well, and neither team shot well from downtown. Look at the difference from the free throw line. In the first half, the Knicks only went 2 of 2 from the line, while Detroit went 13 out of 14 for the game. Knicks outscored by 12 points from the line in a game that was physical on both ends of the court. And how about the rebounding there? Detroit outboards the Knicks by 14, and Isaiah Stewart, their backup big guy, didn't play because of a sore knee. What do you make it? Also bench points, by the way, 35 for the Pistons and only 8 for the Knicks.
Well, first of all, the Pistons are better without an injured Isaiah Stewart in the lineup. Paul Reed was active. He's mobile. He can move. Isaiah Stewart was not moving well in game 1. So they replaced him with a viable, healthy guy that gave him some quality minutes when he was out there on the floor. I'll tell you, this team relies a lot on their bench. Beasley and Schroeder are 2 guys that Coach J.B. Bickerstaff trusts. They're veterans. They've been in big moments. They've been in playoff games. They've been in big games. And he leaves them out there in the fourth quarter. He's got a lot of options to put around Cade Cunningham. And the Knicks changed their coverage a little bit on Cade Cunningham, didn't double him as much, didn't leave the open shooters open as often. So Cade saw that, and he attacked the whole entire game, and he dominated with a big-time performance.
Cunningham in game 1 had 21. We've mentioned he went for 33 tonight. Is that because of the difference in how the Knicks were playing him?
Yeah, they were blitzing him hard in game 1. They were trying to get the ball out of his hands, make other people beat him. As a result, Detroit made 15 threes. In this one, they allowed Anunoby to guard him a lot more one-on-one. And I'll tell you, he can score on Anunoby. If you stick to one-on-one, he's that good.
But why did the Knicks change it up when it was so effective in game 1?
They were down 8 going into the fourth quarter. So they had to kind of make a few adjustments, and as a result, Cade Cunningham saw that. He stayed aggressive. At some point, you're going to have to trust Bridges and OG Anunoby to guard this guy one-on-one during this series, because if they can't stop him one-on-one, they have too many shooters if you're doubling, and it becomes too predictable of a defense when you just throw two guys at Cunningham to get the ball out of his hands. You're going to be playing on a power play on the other side of the floor, and this team has other guys that can really hurt the Knicks, especially from the three-point line.
We were talking about it in the pregame. We were talking about it off the air. What would happen with Detroit in this game after what happened in that stretch in the fourth quarter in Game 1? You got to give them credit. I think there was a lot of thought that maybe they were going to be broken coming into this game, given what happened in Game 1. That is absolutely not close to what happened.
Shows a lot about that locker room, the resolve in this young team. This team believes they can beat this Knicks team. I agree with you, but this was also, you got to remember, this was Detroit's season. Their backs were completely against the wall. They go down 2-0. You gave that statistic that it's pretty bleak that you're going to get back into the series and let alone win it. So they needed this game big time. They came out with a sense of urgency. Having said that, there are a lot of changes and adjustments that I think Tom Thibodeau has to make going into Game 3, because this team, they play a certain style that is really taking the Knicks out of what they want to do. Only 15 assists by the Knicks. There's a lot of dribbling. There's a lot of holding the ball. There's not a lot of ball movement.
Is it the athleticism of the Pistons on defense?
It's the athleticism, the strength, and the size. When you look, like Asur Thompson, he's much bigger than Jalen Brunson. They're big at every position. And Jalen Duren is really solid at manning the middle, and he's physical. And, Karl Anthony Towns, he's great when he can take those immobile bigs on the three-point line and knock down threes over them, put the ball on the floor. But Jalen Duren is a mobile big man who's comfortable going out to that three-point line. And I think that's one of the reasons why we're not seeing Karl Anthony Towns get a lot of good looks from that three-point line.
Let's bring in Monica McNutt, helped call the game on the radio on ESPN New York. And Monica, we've talked about it, worth repeating. Towns did not take a single shot in the fourth quarter, did not score a single point in the second half.
Okay, wait. I just had got my IFB in. Wally, what did you say? Why did that happen? Because I need somebody to help me figure it out, because I'm lost.
Because Duren's physicality, right, Wally?
Yeah. Why Towns didn't get any shots. Yeah, I think Duren, he can move his feet, and he can go out to that three-point line. He's comfortable defending out there. Towns is used to going up against these plotters at 7 feet that don't like going out to that three-point line and contesting, but Duren's as mobile of a big as I think there is in the league, and he's comfortable chasing them off the screens.
All right, Monica, you there? Can you hear us? Okay, we'll get back to Monica in a couple of seconds. But it's interesting because there is no ability of Towns having the advantage from downtown because of Duren's mobility.
Yeah.
So the point is Duren can come out to the line and guard Towns straight up.
And sometimes Tobias Harris is on him, and Tobias is used to going out to the three-point line and guarding guys out there, so he has no problem doing that. Where Towns can hurt Tobias is in the paint. I'm dying to see more of Towns and Mitchell Robinson on the floor together. We saw it at times and at spurts to start the fourth quarter, but I think that's a good lineup because this team is physical. This team is quicker to some of the loose balls and loose rebounds. And when you have Towns out there at the 5 spot, he's got so much physical stuff to do to protect the paint. Whereas if you allow Mitchell Robinson to do that, you can allow Towns to roam a little bit more and not have to deal with a lot of that dirty work that has to be done down low.
And you look at Bridges in that fourth quarter, he had 4 open looks. He was over 4, had 19 points through 3 quarters, had 4 open looks, including that shot to potentially tie the game, and unfortunately couldn't make it.
They're good looks. You got to take those shots. You got to have confidence. There was one in transition. He pulled up, took a wide open 3. Just got to make it. That's the bottom line. You got to get yourself in the rhythm. You got to trust that that's a good shot. And you have to adjust a little bit because he's used to, with the Nets, being the man, having the ball in his hands a lot. Now the ball is obviously going to be in the hands of Mr. Clutch, Jalen Brunson. So when his opportunities do come, they're going to come few and far between. He's got to be ready to knock down those shots.
All right, so when we come back, we will hear from Knicks coach Tom Thibodeau. It's a 1-1 series. We know we're going to have a Game 5 back here at MSG. Game 3 is in Detroit on Thursday night. The coach is next.
The Knicks postgame show is presented by Audi. Visit your Tri-State Audi dealer today.
All right, so the Pistons tie up the series. Cade Cunningham, 33. Pistons win Game 2, 194. Game 3, with the series shifting to Detroit Thursday night. Pregame at 6:30. Game for you coming up 7 o'clock, Game 3, Thursday night from Detroit. Back now from the corner 3, presented by Michelob Ultra Superior Light Beer. So the Knicks now will be on the road as the series shifts to Detroit for games number 3 and 4. Knicks so far at Detroit this season, 1-1. Post-game comments now from Knicks coach Tom Thibodeau, as always, presented by Chase.
Coach, can you look at the difference in rebounding and just ball movement? You only have 15 assists tonight.
Yeah, so the rebounding was problematic the whole night, so that was probably the difference in the game. You got to get stops. I thought we had some good looks at threes, and we didn't make. So trust the pass, and but we got to rebound.
Mikal had that open look to tie it up. Was that the as good a look you could hope for, and something she's probably just...
and again the same thing. It's the right play. Make the right play. Shot it good. We didn't make it. As long as you shoot it good, and he works on it all the time, so it's a good shot when we missed.
How do you assess what you saw from Jalen tonight?
Same. Like he battled like crazy. There was a physicality that, like I want to take a look at the, obviously huge discrepancy in free throws. Huge. So I got to take a look at that. Right. So, I don't understand, how on one side, you talk about direct line drives, the guy's getting fouled and it's not being called. Right. So, and look, I really don't give a crap how they call the game as long as it's consistent on both sides. So if Cunningham's driving and there's marginal contact and he's getting to the line, then Jalen deserves to be getting to the line. It's really that simple.
Tom, in terms of becoming a 48-minute team, playing the full 48 minutes, where do you guys need to go, or how can you guys get to the point where you're playing?
Well, the thing is, missed shots are part of the game, but the rebounding, that we control that. That's your effort. That's all those things. So, if you're not shooting well, you got to do other things to help us win. So rebound the ball. So we know we got to rebound better.
Cat didn't get any shots in the fourth quarter. What do you make of that? And are there ways you feel like you guys can get him a little more involved in those situations?
Well, he's getting touches, but he's making the right play. If he's getting double teamed, I don't want him just shooting the ball over 3 people. That makes no sense to me.
And you also, in the first half, you closed with Mitch at the 5 over Cat. What was your...
Well, Mitch was the one guy rebounding.
What was Cade doing differently that allowed him to score so much today? And after you guys contained him pretty well in game 1.
Yeah, no, he's a great player. So he got to the line a lot.
How exhausting is it for your ball club to play catch up the entire game, and how problematic is that?
Well,
Tom?
you have to win games different ways. Obviously, you'd rather play with the lead, but whatever you just got to find a way to win at the end.
Tom, you talked about the calls, but I think it was 14-2 in the first half free throws. Is that the biggest thing you saw?
Yeah, and we got 2 late that were, so, it is what it is.
We saw you guys kind of dominate after that 21-0 run last game. What was the difference this time that they were able to be so resilient?
Yeah, same thing. We made a comeback, and, we had a good shot at the end, and it didn't go in. So, that's the way it goes sometimes, make or miss league.
Just what's the message or the outlook going into game 3 now?
Same thing. Each game is different. You have to reset. Whether you win or lose, you reset, get ready for the next one. You got to understand what goes into winning.
I know you mentioned the fouls, but in general, how do you feel like the guys responded to the physicality?
That's playoff basketball. It's it's going to be physical, and that's fine. And the rebounding we got to fix.
When the calls aren't going your guys' way, do you feel like there's an issue at all with maybe you guys getting too wrapped up in that and that negatively impacting you guys?
That's part of our league. So you make your point, move on, try to do it during a dead ball.
After kind of a quiet game 1 shooter, 20 off the bench tonight, what was it giving you trouble with him tonight?
Well, I think anytime you put 2 on somebody, you got to make sure you're reacting out. And so I thought our turnovers hurt us in the first half. It was better in the second half, and we put them into the open floor.
Thanks, Coach.
Yeah.
Just to repeat, Detroit in the game attempted 34 free throws. The Knicks in the game attempted 19 free throws. In the first half, Detroit attempted 14 free throws, hit 13 of those. The Knicks in the first half, 2 of 2. That's all they had from the line in the first half. Monica McNutt is back with us. She has plugged her audio back in. Monica, nice work. Great to have you back with us. What's your takeaway after watching the Knicks lose Game 2 now?
So my big thing during the course of the game is I felt like defensively the Knicks were a step slow, and offensively they were a step hurried. And that resulted in sort of a disjointed performance. I mean, look at the box score, you guys. And although Jalen Brunson got to his numbers, and he did shoot 11 free throws, I just think it took OG Anunoby and Josh Hart both late into the fourth quarter to get to 10. I mean, the Karl-Anthony Towns back scoring stopped after the first half, essentially. I thought Bridges had a good start to the ball game, but outside of the three that would have tied the basketball game, I actually didn't like the 2 shots prior to that in terms of the rhythm that this team needed in terms of getting quality shots. So the beautiful thing about this is it is the nature of a series. You have an opportunity to get it right. But to me, between that sort of overall sentiment and the facts that you were out-rebounded by 14, no good. That has to be adjusted quickly when we get to Detroit.
Monica, Billy P. over here, he brought up a great point. Other than the 5 minutes when the Knicks went on a 21-0 run, Detroit has controlled this series in the first 2 games here at MSG. What kind of adjustments do you think the Knicks have to make going to Detroit in order to get a couple wins?
You can't let Cade Cunningham cook. And Cade Cunningham is entering a point in his career where the conversation is similar to what we say about some of the other greats. Do you want to deal with them as a scorer or do you want to deal with them as a facilitator? And I thought in Game 1, they made him a facilitator and were able to keep pace, right? Tonight, he came out as a scorer, which folks in the Garden are all too familiar with him having monster performances here on this floor. And so the biggest thing is you got to be consistently physical with him. But give him his credit, Wally. He adjusted to the way that OG Anunoby was defending him. He was able to find spots. I thought the Pistons did a good job of picking on Jalen Brunson, frankly, defensively, and taking advantage of that matchup. So, first of all, they've got to be physical with him, but they've got to be physical all the way around. Being out-rebounded by this group just will not do, and that speaks to toughness.
All right, Monica, thanks as always. Have a nice trip to Detroit. We'll talk to you on Thursday night.
Sounds good.
Post-game comments from Detroit coach J.B. Bickerstaff. Coming up, his Pistons have knotted the series at 1 game apiece. They win 194. Unlike in Game 1, the Pistons were able to hold a fourth-quarter lead, even though the Knicks tied it. The Knicks were never able to take the lead down the stretch. Here's the post-game comment from Pistons coach J.B. Bickerstaff.
We did what we were supposed to do, and that was it. To win a game on the road, to get home court was what we came here for. So we approached it with a business-like mentality and learned from the fourth quarter the other night, but we just did what we were supposed to do.
I know you respect history and you weren't here for all what's come before you here, but understanding that this franchise hasn't won a playoff game in 18 years, to be a part of the group, your business isn't finished, but to be able to achieve that next step along the way, what does it mean?
Again, we'll talk about that this summer. We got bigger things we're out here for. So our focus, and that's why our guys have been able to grow and been consistent, is because they just think about the now. And I thought they did a great job tonight staying in the moment and doing what we needed to do.
On Saturday, the Knicks really blitzed Cade and tried to get the ball out of his hands. Tonight was kind of the opposite. I don't think he got his first assist to the third, but obviously he was picking his matchups and taking advantage of them. What did you see in his overall approach tonight, how he was able to
I thought it was, a great job of the guys helping him create that space. So by the time their trap was going to arrive, it was going to be late, and then there was separation and room for him to attack. But he had his mind made up what he was going out to do tonight, and he was elite at it like he always is.
Coach, to overcome, the collapse of Saturday and coming into this game without Isaiah Stewart, what can you share about this team's resiliency, something that they have relied upon throughout this whole time?
Yeah, it's the makeup of the men in the locker room. Right? Like, we don't have guys who give in. We don't have guys who make excuses. We just have guys that show up every single day and lay it on the line for one another. And that's all you can ask for. It's a special group when, to a man, they don't want to let each other down. And so they're not going to let their own personal feelings get in the way of the job that they need to do for their teammate, for their brother, for their so that's just who we are. And we're fortunate to have, guys with that type of character and that type of spirit.
Well, Dennis Schroeder had 20 points. The Pistons are the third team he's played on this year and the 9th team he's played on in his career. And every time he seems to play against the Knicks, you're sitting there saying, why does this guy move around so much?
Yeah, he was an elite point guard, top-level point guard when he played for the Hawks for all those years. And he's a shoot-first kind of guy, and he's in a perfect role. Like Vinnie Johnson off the bench for the Detroit Pistons, just looks to score. And he had a big game in this one. And he's not afraid of the moment. You know, I constantly go back to when he was matched up against Jalen Brunson in the FIBA World Championships 2 summers ago. And he played for Team Germany, and they won the gold medal. And the Knicks won the bronze. So this is something where this guy has no fear in big games. This guy will make big shots if you make a mistake on defense, and Josh Hart and Jalen Brunson didn't switch correctly on that last 3 with a minute to go, which turned out to be the big shot in the game. And it's one of those things where, as a team, the Knicks are going to have to you can't let things slide against this team. This team will make you pay when you make every defensive and offensive mistake. That's how connected they are. And what Coach Bickerstaff said about that team in the locker room, you can see it. These guys play for each other. They play physically and they play to win, and they have true belief that they can beat the Knicks. And the Knicks are going to have to get some things together moving this series to Detroit.
Campaign, by the way, they here on Game 1 played only 4 minutes tonight. Knicks got very little off their bench.
Right.
Dennis Schroeder had the 20 off Detroit's bench, one of the keys to the Pistons' win. All right, so the series shifts to Detroit for Games 3 and 4. We know there's going to be a Game 5 back here at MSG on Tuesday the 29th. And remember, full pregame and postgame coverage on MSG for every game the Knicks play. Cat tonight did not score in the fourth quarter. Postgame talking about the Knicks getting outboarded 48-34.
I don't know. I was, executing what we said we wanted to do. So, maybe you wish you could always get one of those long rebounds, which we lose balls, So it was something that got us that, kind of run. We got those 50-50 balls, and we just didn't get that today. So put us in a tough spot. We fought back. We put ourselves in the game, gave ourselves a chance, took some good shots, trust, you trust everyone in this locker room to take those shots and make them. So, nothing to feel bad about getting those kind of shots.
Well, what do you, attribute the slow starts to? What I'm saying? Obviously, you guys were fighting from behind today. Game 1, it was kind of a similar.
Yeah, it was a similar game, right? I mean, every day you're going to get a 21-0 run. So we can't be expecting stuff like that. You just can't expect to flip a switch and all of a sudden, we're the team that we work so hard all year to be. So we got to bring that kind of execution and discipline all game.
Carl, you didn't get any shots off in the fourth quarter. What was that message like for you?
Just trying to have the game, do what it does, and like I said, just executing what we talked about. So, thought we got some great shots and great looks. So, you live with those kind of great shots and great looks, especially when we fought back and got in the game.
Mikhail obviously had
a guy like Tobias guarding you. I know it's far from the first time you've had a win guarding you.
Mm-hmm.
But when you have a guy like Tobias guarding you, what's your mentality off the ball? Are you trying to get the ball for catch and go so you can drive? Are you trying to set up this poke?
I let the defense tell me. I let the defense tell me. So obviously, when I'm always trying to get involved as much as possible. So whether it's post up, I feel I've worked tremendously hard on my game to have an outside and inside game. I think I've proven that to the world year in, year out. So just being aggressive, getting to spots I could do what I do best.
Coach pointed out the rebounding discrepancy tonight. Usually a good rebounding team. Why the difference tonight?
Again, we just didn't get those 50-50 basketballs. They did a great job of getting those, and they did a great job of just finding, those long rebounds in different ways. They obviously, we knew after game 1, they're going to come out in game 2 with more intensity, and we had to match it, and we just didn't tonight.
Mikhail obviously had a pretty good scoring game, and then fourth quarter gets a clean look. Did you think that shot that he took was going?
Of course. We all saw what happened in Portland, so he doesn't need much space to get a game winner going. So he got a great look. JP got a great look. You live with those kind of shots.
When you look around in this locker room, what are you expecting out of your teammates the rest of the way, man?
Just fight. I mean, this is something we got experience in this locker room, and we're a locker room that's close knit. So I expect us to stay connected, get hungrier, and find ourselves executing at a high level.
Hey Carl, Detroit, you had 3 shots, I think, in the third. I know I asked you about the fourth. I'm just curious, did Detroit do anything different in the second half that you had seen previously in the first game and a half?
I got to watch the film. But I can't really answer that. I'm in the game, so like I said, I'm just executing what we're told to do and trying to do my best at doing it at a high level.
The free throw disparity. How difficult?
We're not worried about that.
How difficult is it to play through that when it's
the
when it's happening
playoffs.
in real
It's the
time?
playoffs. So you can't be worried about free throw disparity and all that stuff. We got to go out there and play physical and not worry about that. If we let that creep into the minds, it becomes contagious and it's not good for the team. So do a better job of just blocking out the noise of that and just playing the game.
All set. Cat says forget about the free throw shooting disparity, but the rebounding disparity, that's a big issue. How do the Knicks correct that going forward?
I think they got to put Mitchell Robinson in the game for more minutes. Because when you look at the lineups, Karl Anthony Towns is a great rebounder. Anunoby's an undersized 4. He's out there chasing Cade Cunningham around the whole entire game, so he's not going to help you as much on the boards. Josh Hart's an elite rebounder for his size, but he's giving up size to Tobias Harris or whoever he's matched up against. So their starting lineup, Mikal Bridges, he doesn't really rebound much because he's out on the perimeter. Mitchell Robinson is the guy that can secure the paint in this series, in my opinion. I think he needs to get more minutes. I think he has an intimidation factor when he's out there. And I think the team plays the way Tom Thibodeau wants his guys to play. More physical, better rebounding team, better defensive team when Mitch is out there on the floor. It looked good when Mitch was out there on the floor with Karl Anthony Towns on the floor also. So go big against this team, and you won't be losing the rebounding battle, that's for sure.
By the way, Cat has 17 rebounds in this series, not a single offensive rebound.
Well, he's on the perimeter a lot. I mean, that's just part of how he plays. He's a good defensive rebounder, but Mitch is the guy who's getting all those extra possessions because he's around the rim and he's cleaning up a lot of those misses on the weak side. So there are a lot of different adjustments that Tom Thibodeau can make. I think he's going to obviously do that. If Mitch is healthy, and he looked healthy and he looks healthy, I think he can be a big difference maker in this series, and he can help the Knicks in a lot of areas that they need.
Jalen Duren, 12 points, 13 rebounds. Cade Cunningham, 33 points. Both now, let's listen into them at the podium.
It's a great feeling, man. It feels good to represent the city like we did tonight. Something that the city's been waiting on for a long time. So, we feel good about it and we're ready to get back to the crib and perform in front of them.
For both of you, how would you say that Dennis's veteran leadership kind of helped down the stretch there for y'all?
I think, well, from my standpoint, I think he helps Cade, kind of play off the ball more, kind of just takes pressure off him, especially in clutch moments where, DS is another guy who can make plays and who we trust with the ball in his hands.
When Dennis makes that three, is it relief? Is it, what's going through your mind when he makes that big clutch shot when okay, we probably get this stuff here?
Probably both of them, big time shot for us. So, yeah, I mean, that took a lot of pressure off of us. And that's a shot we know he can knock down.
What was the approach for you coming into tonight? I don't think you got assist number one, so midway through the third. They blitzed really hard on Saturday coming into tonight. How did you adjust into a group?
Yeah, just be aggressive and take what they give me. Start with being aggressive and see how they want to guard it from there. And then, I felt like a lot of times it was making a play to JD or whoever to make the next play. It was just what the game gave me. I wasn't really trying to look for anything in particular, just, be aggressive, play hard.
How much is his game a testament to the coaching and oversight, but not only the teams, but to get his message across?
I feel like it's been huge. I think JB hasn't changed his approach all year. He's had the same intensity. He's held the same standard for the group all year. And, we trust and believe in everything that he tells us, all the game plans that he gives us. So it's been great. Yeah, I mean, obviously not having Stu, I understood that I was going to be leaned on a little more heavy, but I feel like my job is the same every night. To go out there and, try to dominate the boards on both ends, be our anchor in the defense, and just help the guys out. So role really didn't change, but just not having Stu, I knew I was probably going to play a little more minutes.
Okay, from just being around you this season, you don't seem to dwell on too much. So after the first playoff game between 1-on-1, how do you kind of regroup yesterday? Is it you're in the gym or you relaxing?
Yeah, I was staying off my feet, got as much treatment as I could, much feel-good stuff as I could, and then watching the film, trying to figure out, what went right, what went wrong. But at the end of the day, I trust our system. I trust the guys. We knew that we dropped that game, so it was just about coming out today and being aggressive and trying to outdog them.
How big has Tobias been for you guys through the 2 games so far?
It's been huge, man. He always brings a sense of calm to us. We know we can always give him the ball, and everything settles down. On the glass, he was huge for us today. Helping JD out, and so he does a bunch of everything for us. And it's good to have that guy that has that experience and can make plays for you.
Jalen, speak to the defensive effort. Everybody can talk about short shot, Cade, big night, but you guys really were able to limit it tonight on the defensive end. Just talk about what went into you guys' defensive game plan tonight.
Yeah, it was. I think that's just Pistons basketball, competing on the ball, taking individual matchups. That's the way we want to play every night. It wasn't really nothing new in terms of game plan, but I feel like we just executed at a high level today.
All right, Wally, you got Tobias Harris, who we haven't heard from yet, 13 rebounds. Duren, 13 rebounds. Cade Cunningham, 12 rebounds. No Nick had more than 7 rebounds.
Big problem. And you can explain it because the Knicks are small against this team at a lot of positions. Karl Anthony Towns has the height advantage over Duren by a little bit, but Duren's big and strong, so he can hold his position. But the rest of the positions, the Knicks are not overly big, and this team is athletic, they're young, they're aggressive, they're hungry. And as a result, the Knicks are going to have to figure out a way to put lineups out there that's going to allow them to have the advantage to get those 50-50 balls, those loose balls, those offensive rebounds, because those are categories that the Knicks notoriously have been dominant in, getting those extra possessions and dominating the controllable parts of the stat sheet, which is the turnovers, keeping those down, the rebounding, dominating that portion of it. Those are 2 things that are key for this series if the Knicks want to win it.
Interesting approach. Cade Cunningham in game 1, 12 assists. Tonight, only 3 assists. OG Anunoby guarded him a lot tonight like he did in game 1. We'll get OG's postgame perspective when we come back. Anunoby scored only 10 tonight. He had 23 in game 1. His postgame comments coming up.
The Knicks postgame show is presented by Audi. Visit your Tri-State Audi dealer today.
Welcome back, everyone. Detroit wins game 2, 100-94. Knicks tying a season low with those 94 points. Season now knotted at 1 game apiece. And games 3 and 4 are in Detroit, beginning with Thursday night's game 3. We're on the air at 6:30 with our pregame. Game comes your way Thursday night at 7. Postgame comments now from the Knicks' OG Anunoby.
I think just how the game went. No matter what, I'm always trying to be aggressive, so just how the game went.
What did you think about the rebounding discrepancy tonight?
I didn't even have to check. I felt like they got
They had like 14 more than you guys. Oh, yeah.
Part of it, some of it's getting good bounces. Some of it is us not finishing possession, boxing out. So we'll watch the film and address it.
What do you, attribute the slow starts to in this series? It looks like you guys have been playing from behind for a little bit.
Sorry. I don't know. We never want to start slow. It's just been happening, so we got to address it, figure it out, and try to prevent it from happening again.
What was Cade doing today that you guys kind of contained the game differently, I guess, today?
Just they're running stuff to get me off of his body, setting screens to get me off of him, and doing stuff like that. So they made some adjustments, and we're gonna make some adjustments ourselves.
How do you combat that? Going
We'll watch the film and figure it out.
When that shot leaves Mikhail's hands to tie the game, do you think it's going in? He was hot tonight.
Oh yeah, I thought it was going in. That's his shot. Yeah.
How physical was this game to play in for you?
It was a physical game, but it's the playoffs are.
Nothing over the top, nothing more than usual?
No.
When you run into a screen from Duren, does that feel a little bit different than anybody else that sets a screen as big as he is?
No, they're all trying to screen me and move on the screen. They're all doing that illegal stuff. Some of them are illegal. Some, I'm sure not everyone is illegal or legal, but they're all trying to screen me as hard as they can. So just matching their intensity, fighting over, and figuring it out.
In a lot of ways, you can set the tone defensively, especially when you're on Cade. He was able to get going tonight. Just what do you think you can do differently? I know he kind of asked about adjustments, but do you feel like when Cade gets going, that kind of hurts the defense?
No, he's a great player. He made some tough shots, and they're doing some good stuff to get me off of him, off his body, and get him downhill. So just watch the film and go from there.
What's important when you go on the road for the first time in a playoff series? Like, what do you have to do differently now that you're going into, I guess, hostile territory?
Just come out with energy, play hard, play harder than them.
Thanks. Illegal picks, legal picks, lots of picks.
Yeah.
Were they screening him differently tonight than they did in Game 1?
Well, I think the Knicks were defending it a little bit differently. They were coming at different angles, which confused the Knicks a few times. There was a few times where I think OG thought the help was on one side. They switched the angle of the pick quickly, and as a result, there was no help on that side. They're smart. You know, this guy's a smart basketball player, Cade Cunningham. He's
never in a rush.
No. Always composed, really handles the ball well, reads the defense very well. And, you know, the Knicks are going to have to step up their game because there's a lot of things that they could have done better. I think they relaxed a little bit in this game, and the sense of urgency was heightened for Detroit. They knew they had to have this one. Going down 0-2, they would have been in deep trouble. And I think the Knicks kind of didn't, you know, they thought they would coast to this victory. As a result, they lost it, and they got to ratchet up their intensity level for Game 3.
All right, Josh Hart, always good to listen to. After games, win or lose, we'll get his post-game perspective coming up. Hart able to convert there and tied it late, but it's the Pistons who prevail by 6. Welcome back. Series all knotted now at 1 game apiece as the Pistons win Game 2, 100-94. Josh Hart tonight, 10 points. Here he is now after the game.
In the playoffs, where every possession matters, you got to finish possessions the right way. You got to get extra possessions on the offensive side. And, you know, that's something that we didn't do today. So, you know, there's peaks and valleys of a season. Playoffs is no different.
Josh, Mikhail obviously had a hot shooting night, and then the last shot doesn't go. When he shoots that shot, do you think it's going in because of the night he had?
I mean, we got confidence in him all the time. I don't even know what he had or what he shot or whatever, but he had, you know, 2 good looks. JB, you know, his kind of like walk-up 3. Kel, his open 3. We're living with that, you know. Kel's the guy that he puts the work in. So we're comfortable and confident with him taking that shot. And, you know, we'll live with the result. I'm rocking with him until the end. And, you know, when he shot that, I thought it was good, you know. There's sometimes you just, ball doesn't go in.
Down 3, Bridges had a wide open 3 at the top of the key, couldn't convert. Bridges 19 points, but didn't score in the fourth quarter, went 0 for 4 shooting in the fourth quarter. Meantime, Jalen Brunson, 14 of his 37 in the fourth quarter. Here's Brunson now after the game.
Jalen, on that three-pointer, Mikhail's three-pointer with 11 seconds left, can you kind of take me through what you saw in that possession?
Yeah, I was on the left wing. I tried to go right middle, and then I think Dennis cut me off, so I went back left, and I cut across the lane. Tried to see what the defense is doing. I just see Mikhail relocating back to the top, and I thought he had a good look, and just missed it.
James, in terms of this flow of the game, where do you think things went up for you guys?
From the jump, I think we did a good job of fighting back, but yeah, from the jump, I think the rebounding was a big key, and yeah, I feel like we were playing catch ball all game. I mean, which we were, and then we tied it up, and then I just didn't switch up on the Dennis 3, and yeah, I just didn't put myself in a position to help the team win on that aspect, and so yeah, it's tough.
What do you think the big?
It's both of us, but it's something that shouldn't happen, especially between me and him. We've known each other too long to mess that up.
What do you think the biggest difference was in their play? Do you think they increased the defense more?
I feel like they definitely picked up their intensity, and I mean, when it comes to playoffs, the team that loses comes back is just more into it, and it's just a natural reaction when you're in the playoffs. And then when you lose, you find a way to figure out how to come back next game and be better. And you got to give them a lot of credit. And then now it's all on us to respond.
Jalen, what did you think about your own game offensively tonight?
I feel like I'm getting the spots and missing shots I normally make, and I feel like it could be a lot better, and I hold myself to a higher standard when it comes to that, and yeah, I just got to put my team in position to win, and all the other stuff doesn't really matter. What the stats were. When it comes to a loss, that doesn't matter at all. I just got to help my team put them in a position to win, and tonight I didn't do that.
Jalen, you guys had 15 assists as a team, obviously less than you average. What do you make of that? What do you make of the way you operated offensively?
Yeah, I feel like we got a lot of good looks, and they didn't go down, but we can't let missed shots or stuff like that affect us. You got to control what we can control, and I think that's a big key in winning and losing, controlling what you can control, and making sure you're always just fighting back. And then you can't let up at any point. You can't have any sort of complacency in times like this.
And I was also curious.
Jalen always takes extra blame when it may not be necessary. Second straight game, he goes 12 of 27 from the floor. Only 4 of 12 in this one from downtown.
I love the way he handles himself. That's exactly how a captain should handle his post-game press conference, to own up to that switch with Josh Hart. You know, those are plays that they're not winning plays, and he prides himself on making winning plays. You know, the series is 1-1. That's how it goes. You know, the hungrier team was Detroit because they knew their backs were against the wall. Now the Knicks have to respond in Game 3 because now they have the pressure on themselves to go into Detroit and get a win to get this series back onto home court. So this is still going to be a long series, it looks like. This Detroit team's a really good team. They're playing beyond their years. And Jalen Brunson and company, they're going to have to rise to the occasion, step up their games, and figure some things out.
And Brunson made the point, Knicks have to stop playing from behind.
Yeah.
It's been the
that
case
would help.
both games, except from that run we talked about.
That would help.
The fourth quarter, Game 1. Aside from that, it's been all Pistons. Yep. So the series is knotted at 1 game apiece, with Game 3 shifting to Detroit Thursday night. We'll see you for the pregame at 6:30. Game is at 7. You can also stream our coverage on MSG Plus now on the Gotham Sports app. Want more than just a postgame show? Link your eligible TV subscription to stream Knicks games free, or subscribe today in the Gotham Sports app. Just go to gothamsports.tv to learn more.